In the age of the internet, so many of the barriers between human beings have broken down. Many people just a few centuries ago would go their entire lives having only interacted with those living close nearby, seeing only a narrow slice of the full range of professions, personalities, and cultures of the world. Nowadays, however, anyone with access to the World Wide Web can have a two-way conversation with someone flung far across the globe. One major barrier, however, still decides who can talk to whom and restricts any person's view on the multitude of human experiences. This, of course, is a person's language, giving or denying that person access to the worlds of business, diplomacy, and art. From this millennia-old obstruction arose the role of the translator, playing an essential role in the machinery of communication for most of human history. In recent times, however, artificial intelligence has grown in leaps and bounds, leading many to wonder, will human translators soon be consigned to history? In the wake of the Second World War, the demand for translation vastly outpaced the supply of human translators, pushing researchers to begin to work on automated translation services. At first, machines were trained to translate in the image of the human brain, taught to decode meaning from one language using human-programmed grammatical rules, then reversing that process to render the meaning into another language. But this strategy was abandoned in 1988 when researchers first implemented translation using machine learning techniques. In this new process, a computer simply read through mountains of human-translated texts, deriving patterns between the two languages on its own. This is the approach taken by many modern-day machine translators, such as Google Translate, which would translate individual words or phrases from the source sentence and rearrange the translated versions to align with the correct grammar of the target language. In recent years, though, Google Translate has moved even further, analyzing and translating each sentence holistically. Using this new technology and other similar techniques, computer translation now matches human translators for accuracy when given the task of translating individual sentences from Chinese news articles into English. That being said, though, humans still do better when assessed with document-level translation accuracy metrics. Given that computers are now smart enough to take down our best minds at chess or math, why is translation so hard for them? The truth of the matter is that the cultural cues, exceptions, and ambiguities of natural human language throw a wrench in the process of translation when approached by a machine. For example, an English speaker would intuitively know to translate idiomatic phrases like, "that test was a piece of cake," to their figurative meanings, but computer translators, having no internal sense of meaning, might blindly spit out an absurd literal translation instead. This sort of problem, though, can be solved by feeding the computer more input. Other issues, on the other hand, are completely unique to computers and harder to circumvent. For another example, take these sentences. Aaron can't find his dog Ricky. I bet he got lost in the woods. And, Aaron can't find his dog Ricky. I bet he's worried sick. While a human would be able to understand the emotions at play in this situation, a computer would have no idea whom the pronoun he refers to. It lacks the cultural awareness to read between the lines. Most troubling for the computer translators, though, are the words and phrases that do not have a one-to-one equivalent in the destination language. This being the case, the human-translated source materials would likely choose a variety of different words, depending on the context. This would make it all too easy for the computer's algorithm to pick the wrong meaning for a specific context, an error that even human translators commit. For evidence of the potentially devastating consequences of this sort of bungle, look no further than the Japanese Prime Minister's response to Truman's ultimatum in 1945. Asked to respond to the Potsdam Declaration's harsh terms of surrender from the Second World War, the Prime Minister responded to reporters' questions with mokusatsu, derived from the word for silence and intended to mean no comment. However, the phrase can also take on a second meaning, to treat with silent contempt. Only this second meaning was communicated to the U.S. top officers, who viewed this response as another instance of Japanese aggression. 10 days later, the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. This is the crux of the biggest problem with automating translation. It is an art that innately requires creativity, research, and precision, especially in the highest stakes situation. If the development of automated translation continues on its current trajectory, it will eventually overcome most semantic hindrances and surpass human beings in accurate translation of most sentences, articles, and even whole books. But when the cultural subtext of a situation carries such immense importance, we will long continue to use our most savvy, nuanced translators, human beings.